trucks who come to park or buy foodstuffs from our villagers in bulk should be halted for now. We have stopped mass purchase from our local markets in all our local government from now henceforth until further notice. Anybody found doing that, we have given security agencies go ahead to confiscate those trucks and share the food to the people. Thank you.
Mr. Tony, let me start by asking, what do you make out of this declaration by the Niger State government on banning bulk sale of food items from the state?
First of all, for me, this amounts to food terrorism. For me, that's what it is.
In what aspect?
What aspect is that you know that food is a natural resource, right? Mm-hmm. And many states depend on the northern part of Nigeria, for their food supplies, right?
Yeah.
Now, since the 1957 or so, around there till now, the single resource that has given Nigeria all the money that has built infrastructure in Nigeria from 1957 till date, the single resource that's provided all these monies that politicians have stolen from that time till now, the single resource that's built roads, built bridges, built houses, built all sorts of infrastructure is coming from the south, and that is oil, right? Now, I've asked this question a million times. When is it that when it comes to resources in the south, it becomes a national thing, it becomes a national property, everybody can partake of it? But when it comes to gold, it comes to blue diamond, it comes to different kinds of natural resources, then the northern states claim ownership and claim, personalization. Now, what this man is doing is wrong. Okay, it is illegal, it is unconstitutional, and the government of the day must not allow this to happen. Because if the South has decided since 1957 to not contribute their wealth to national development, I wonder what the Northern Nigeria would do. Northern Nigeria has provided most presidents in this country, and these presidents and politicians have been the most corrupt, some of the most corrupt, and have stolen, billions and trillions of naira, or dollars from the national coffers. And yet the South never once called for the personalization of their resources or indigenization of their own resources. So why will this man wake up today and decide to do this? It is absolutely wrong. It is absolutely unconstitutional. And I'm looking to the federal government to do something about it. Now, having said this, it's also a good thing that this is happening, because somebody like me for years, I've said it on this radio station and different other radio stations where I've appeared, that the South needs to take agriculture seriously. The last time this happened was about 2 or 3 years ago, when Northerners decided they were going to keep their food away from the South.
So what happened with that?
I laughed at that, and that's what I'm doing now. I've written on social media that this man is going to quickly learn a lesson that his predecessors learned, right? Because the truth is, now, agriculture contributes majorly to Northern GDP, right? And so if you decide you're not going to sell all that food, who's going to eat it? Who's going to consume them? Your farmers are going to go poor. Your farmers are going to go out of business. All they worked for the last year, the last agricultural year, are going to go to waste because nobody's going to buy them. If they decided to sell them within the state, there's not enough market in the state for the amount of food they produce. So this is even child's play. It's not going to stand. He's going to learn a quick lesson.
But don't you think this is quite different? Because in this case, Niger State, to be precise, we've seen protests erupting, and it's because of high cost of living, scarcity of food, and starvation. So he said he cited a reason why he said this. He said that they do not have enough food in their state. So don't you think this is a different ball game?
Well, if he hasn't, we don't know that he's paying for the food. Now, listen. One thing is to ban the shipment of food. The other thing is for you to pay the farmers for the food, subsidizing it and sharing it to the locals who are crying for hunger, right? If that's what he's doing, then we understand that he's doing something great for his people. But that's not what he's doing. He's just banned it and not said why he's banned it, right? Now, farmers have worked hard to farm these products, right? If you ban them from selling them to the rest of Nigeria, who's going to buy them? Remember the last time it happened, they said, oh, we're not sending our food to the south anymore. We're going to ship them to neighboring countries. We laughed at them. Now they went to market 1, 2, 3 times to these countries they hoped we were going to buy from them, and nobody bought from them, right? And so they quickly changed their mind and returned to the South. These people are very funny. This is absolutely very wrong. You can't do such a thing. But like I said, I'm happy it's happening because the South needs to learn a lesson. The 5 Igbo states need to learn a lesson. I have preached agriculture since I've been on radio for years. I've been doing this radio thing for years. And I have always preached agriculture as the black gold. I've preached agriculture as a very important part of national life. So Southeast needs to take agriculture seriously. I think we Igbos, let me even now narrow it down to Southeast and not just to the South. I think we Igbos have become too wise for ourselves to the point where we become a danger to ourselves, right? Now, we know everything. We're good at business. We're out in Lagos. We're out in the north making investments of trillions of dollars, while back home, we don't have farms. Nobody wants to farm anymore. We're too important for agriculture. We have become too good for agriculture. The young girls won't farm, the young men won't farm because we're too clean for agriculture. And at the end of the day, stuff like this keeps happening. Why wouldn't it happen? The man feels he has a card to play that will hurt the South, and that's why he's done that. But if we will take agriculture seriously, Abakaliki used to be I think is the food basket of the East. Right now, the government of Abakaliki needs to invest more and enable farmers to, produce more. In Enugu State, it has to be the same thing. Across the 5 southeastern states, it has to be the same thing. We have to invest trillions of dollars in agriculture because any money you put in agriculture would not go to waste. It's a sure investment. It mitigates against inflation. Imagine if we were really a farming region, this inflation wouldn't be hurting our people as much because we are crying that the cost of food is going high because farmers can't farm because of insecurity. But also, when the food is farmed, there's a cost attached to shipping the goods from northern Nigeria to the southeast, and it's a high cost because of high cost of fuel. Imagine we were really serious about agriculture and we were producing everything, then that cost of transportation, that cost of freight would have been eliminated and food will be much cheaper, really. So I'm calling on the 5 eastern governors to take agriculture seriously. I'm calling on Dr. Peter Mba. I'm calling on
Francis
Mwifuru, Oti,
Alex Oti.
all of them. I'm calling on all of them. The man from my state, Obiano, not Obiano. What is his name?
Oh, sorry.
Soludo. I'm calling on all the 5 eastern governors right now to take agriculture seriously. Agriculture is a black gold. Agriculture is a gold mine. Let's put money in agriculture. It's going to make food cheap. It's going to create jobs, and it's going to power, the next revolution of processing industries, really, and create jobs for our people. And the solution to make Southeast like Dubai is actually to take agriculture seriously, invest in production, then create the middle ground, which is processing. Invest heavily there, right? Whatever we get from the middle sector feeds our people, and the rest goes for export, and there will be cash flow of forex in the southeast, and we would have a southeast that is economically different today.
Okay, the agricultural sector is a very lucrative sector, and
absolutely,
the Igbos are also known as people that go to where the money is coming out from. Even if money is not there, they just have a way of creating money there and making money to come out of that place.
Yes.
So what do you think are the factors that discourage the Southeast from going into large-scale farming, and for us to be where we are right now with the agricultural sector, to the extent that we are receiving threats? It's not just the Southeast. That threat was dished out to other states, but the focus on the show today is the southeastern region. What do you think are the factors that actually limit us?
I'm going to answer you this in a very weird way, right? Now, I've traveled around the world, and I found out that these people dealing drugs can't do any other business from my studies. You know why? Because the drug money makes them so lazy to the point where they can't do any other thing. They sit at home and their boys keep bringing money, right? Now, trading has become like a drug or drug money for Igbo people. Igbo people have gotten so comfortable with trading. I run to China, I bring 10, 20 containers. I come back, I flip it 1 month, I'm back, and I bring another 30 containers. Igbos have gotten so used to that kind of trading, and they don't really want to get into any other business that requires a gestation period, that requires a little bit of time to nurture it, right? Agriculture is that kind of business. Agriculture is not something you put money into, and the next 1 month you're making profit. You have to farm for at least 6 months. Imagine we've been talking about the Young Millionaire program, and we have to give it 7 months, to be able to make the profit out of it, right? Igbo man doesn't want that. Igbo man wants cash and carry. I put money, I put 100,000 now, I pull out 1 million. That's what the Igbo man wants. And it's a bad thing for our people. And that's really why our young people don't want to work anymore. That's why really our younger generation rather drive beautiful cars that they have not worked hard for, because they are looking to make money really fast. So we need to change that mentality. There's always a sowing season before there's a reaping season. You have to work before you say. My mom would always say, St. Paul, say, that is to say, you have to work before you reap the harvest, right? And so this idea of making money fast has become a problem for the Southeast. Agriculture is a gold mine. Go to America, for example. Some of the richest families in America that have transferred generational wealth are farming families, right? It's the same thing in Europe. It's the same thing in Asia. It's the same thing in Nigeria. Some of our biggest generals, retired generals, are farmers. Obasanjo, Tinubu, how do you call it? Obasanjo, the last one, what's his name? Buhari. Look at all of them. Really, they are farmers. It's either they are playing in the livestock sector or they're playing in the crop, farming sector. And you can never go wrong with agriculture, because as long as human beings are alive, they're going to feed. And as long as human beings feed, they are going to buy food. And so if you make sure that there is food available for people to buy, you will never go out of business and you will never go poor, right? And so this is what we must take seriously. I don't know if I've answered your question or...
Yes, go ahead.
I neglected that. So really, that's what I think is the problem, and Southeast should start taking agriculture seriously. Now, there is a new revolution that should be activated. Well, I call it a new revolution because I expect that people like the current crop of governors in the Southeast understand economics, right? And so you should understand that really, if you want to create jobs in the Southeast, agriculture will help you, will be a driver. It will help you get there fast, because when you invest millions of naira in agriculture, we produce enough raw materials for the processing industry. And so when we create that processing industry, it will also employ hundreds of thousands of Southeasterners. And of course, other people will start moving to the Southeast because they would hear that there are jobs in the Southeast, really. So it's not rocket science creating jobs and turning around the economy of the Southeast. But this is an eye-opener, what this man has said. It's been done a couple of times before it failed, and they've done it again. And it's time we call their bluff. I'm still waiting for Enugu State to set up ranches all over the state. Okay, so where we will have to begin to supply our own meat internally, right?
Yeah, the state government is currently looking into that.
Great. If they do that, now a lot of these problems of farmer headers in the South will end, because what would happen is that their meat will go out of demand, because we will begin to serve ourselves. And so when they find out that really nobody's actually buying this cattle anymore, they will stop bringing it down south. Right? So that is one way. The other way is to make sure that, we're able to set up noodle factories, snack factories, beverage factories, and there is a production sector that is able to take agricultural produce and supply it to this middle ground for processing. And this processing will employ hundreds of thousands of youth. Now, what they produce will feed the Southeast and the rest of Nigeria, and of course, go international in the form of export.
Okay, that's a beautiful one. Before now, we have local farmers, people who do not farm at large scale. So how do you think the local farmers, those that still do agricultural business on the low, how do you think they should react to this ban by the Niger State government? It's
good news for them, really, because really, I was going to say this. Thanks for asking that question. Anybody that's doing any kind of agriculture in the Southeast, this is their season to reap right now, because if this ban really holds true, they will be the ones that have any food at all to supply.
Right.
And so that means they will also increase their prices and try to take advantage of the situation. So I'm calling on the governors again to take this seriously. Take agriculture seriously. I don't care how many good roads we build. I don't care how water runs. I don't care how we have power supply. If there is no food, the people cannot enjoy all of those. So we must take agriculture seriously, invest heavily. It gives high return on investment. It removes inflation. It grows GDP, and it grows IGR. And we must take it seriously.